Hey guys, how are ya? Let's get this shifted over to the right screen so we're all in our glory for our fabulous viewers that are joining us tonight. And come on now, I definitely have to get Turbo back because this ad at the beginning is a freaking killer. I have to. I've had Turbo, I guess, since I was first joined Skype. I mean Skype. Oh man, Twitch, and I only recently lost it, and I miss it a lot. But anyway, tonight it's late night with Cranky and friends, and I have lined up for us tonight, and with the wrong names. You believe that?
I told you I didn't want to be the blue cow.
You didn't want to be the blue
I'm quite
cow?
happy being this.
You are? You are? Should I leave that just for the heck of it?
I'm happy with this.
Okay, we'll leave it. Since you were calling yourself Elizabeth earlier, I guess it's just a short hop from being, Hasselhoff. The lady of the group is Hasselhoff, not John the Blue Cow. How are you, Hass?
I am wonderful, thank you.
I'm glad to hear that. I really am. And the other male of the panel tonight is John the Blue Cow, our English contingent from England, who has decided that he doesn't need sleep tonight, or his night. Well, it would be what, daytime? Like, what's the hour difference, John?
It's just about to hit 5 a.m., but yeah, I start night shifts tomorrow, so I'll be thankfully sleeping all day. Yeah, so it's quite convenient for me.
Cool. Anyway, so how's your guys' day? I noticed you're sporting a new set of headphones there, dear lady.
Yeah, I have Turtle Beach, and I broke the earpiece on one side, and so for the longest time I had tape, just like ghetto fabulously stuck on one side of my head, and I was like, screw it, I'll just buy the cheaper version, but I can't seem to get these to be acknowledged anywhere, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong, so.
Well, I guess we'll just have to call in the experts later, what the hell. But that happens with hardware. We all know that. Like, it doesn't matter what we get. At some, like, when I got this new machine all set up, I figured, oh, fantastic, I'm not going to have any problems, until it absolutely refused to recognize my blue snowball. And I couldn't figure out why. Well, this one is so new, it came with both USB 2 and 3.0, and I had the mic plugged into the 3.0 instead of the 2. So, yeah, I kind of, had to make a correction there.
Isn't Snowball kind of like elite mic for this kind of stuff? Like, I've heard rumors.
Well, I love the Snowball. I've done, I guess, 5 years or more of podcasts with this mic, both video and audio, and just audio. And I swear by it. Anybody asks you what mic that they should use, my first reaction is get yourself a Snowball. Because right now, thanks, Civ. You can pick up a Snowball on Amazon for around $60. When I got mine, it was $120. It was, yeah, about $120. Now you can get them for $60 on Amazon. That's $60 you'll ever spend for a mic. The only way I would go up from that is to move up to the Blue Yeti. The Yeti mic is a bit more of a more traditional stand-up mic. The Snowball is literally a ball on a stand. It's nothing fancy. The Yeti is becoming very popular among audio podcasters. They love this mic. It just, hey, yeah, Rar, they are. Just so we can have some fun with you guys in chat, get you confused, because we know how easy that is.
Yeah, you've got to know the real John and the real House.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you don't, then you're really fucked. We got Haas with her red hair underneath the pseudonym of John the Blue Cow. So where the fuck does the blue come in from? Like, really, you know? Speaking of which, you know, I really want to know, mate, how the hell did you come up with the nickname John the Blue Cow? I really want to know this one.
I'd love to know as well. I've had it since I was about 11 years old or 12 years old, and I've kept it. And everything that I sign up for, yeah, I've cursed myself now by saying that. Everything I sign up for, it's always free, unique. So like even gamer tags, anything is completely unique. But now it's going to be taken by people. People are going to go out there and take it all, try and sell it to me for extortionate amounts of money.
Well, yeah, of course, it's the internet. But no, how did John the Blue Cow, like, what's the backstory of this nickname?
Genuinely, I genuinely cannot remember. I was about 11 or 12, so it would have been secondary school in the in the UK. Oh yeah, sorry guys, I wear a clip-on mic. I'm a bit old-fashioned. Yeah, I genuinely have no idea how that nickname came to light.
Okay, all right. I can tell this is a story you do not want to tell. I know it's a childhood story that is embarrassing as fuck, and you don't want anybody to know it. I just know that's the truth.
Well, I mean, the only thing that I do know, I did a bit of research into it, and there are actually blue cows out there in the world that live in Belgium. Genuinely, they're called Belgian blues. A bit of research gets you to that. Hashtag wiki.
On a side note, and I can't say this name, I'm gonna hack it, but Oxivilo asked if you liked cigars, Cranky, and decided that you need to wear a red bathrobe. And yeah, BZL.
Wait a minute, dude. Wait a minute. Real quick, I know we got a 30-second delay on Twitch chat, but Civlo, where the hell did you come up with that? Like, why? A red bathrobe? And it's not a cigar, it's stupid ass e-cig. I'll go back to smoking.
He wanted to know if you liked cigars. And
oh, I do.
He said you need a red bathrobe, and I said you were the Hugh Hefner of Twitch. We could turn you into that.
Actually, my preference is cheroots. I love cheroots. And Panther cigars out of the Netherlands. They are really, really not expensive, but they're really nice little cigarette type cigars. Really nice. But yeah, no, red bathrobe, no, ain't happening. No, don't wear a bathrobe, and we're not going to go any further along that line of conversation at all. This happened, actually, I saw the little news blurb earlier, and I saw it actually happening in Dizzy's chat. Twitch has a new feature where if your subscription renewal comes up, right, I think it started today, you will, up to 14 days, just in case I guess you aren't online afterwards, when you log in to your favorite streamer that you're subscribed to and you've been renewed for that month, you will see a little banner that asks you if you want to share the fact that you are, 3 months, 6 months, a year, that you've been a sub. And I was kind of, when I first read this, I was kind of curious about what a streamer's point of view would be on seeing this. And Dizzy was actually he thought it was a fantastic idea. And really for a viewer, it's kind of, I don't know, bragging, I guess, especially once you start getting into the multi-month period or multi-year period for some of us. Are you guys going to use this when it pops up, when your subs are renewed on wherever you're?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think anybody would, even if it's a 1 month anniversary. It's something to celebrate. I mean, you're making a transaction to a partner on Twitch. And that transaction is because you enjoy the stream and the streaming, and to get good feedback from them, even if it's just through that moment, you know, a bit of appreciation of thank you for sending that $5 again. You know, it's kind of almost like a mini thank you.
I personally, I like the idea, and I know the moment mine shows up, it's getting clicked. There's just no two ways about it. I was just kind of curious as to you know, how good it'll. This is promotion. I'm kind of wondering why Twitch decided to do this. Like, is it? I guess it's just for fun, But the other thing that came up with, as far as Twitch is concerned today, is that if you go to the directory page, there is now a section on the left-hand sidebar for promoted games. Twitch looks like it's getting into the business of promoting games. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about that. If that is the case, I haven't been able to find anything more about that other than that's what is happening.
Well, what exactly does that mean, promoting games? Because I know you could start following games that you like. But
this is a different.
Promoted.
This is a different section. This is promoted. This means that Twitch is actively either promoting the game and or promoting the streamers who are streaming the game. So
I did see there's two separate sections. There's one for promoted games and one for promoted streamers. So it's difficult to say. It's not. They're not saying advertised, but it is implying that. So you don't know whether a transaction has taken place.
yeah, so we're still having a buffering problem for some people. So we're gonna have to turn the bitrate down tomorrow, because I can't do it during stream, folks. So please be patient. We'll get this part fine-tuned. See, the part of the problem here is, folks, that normally on Twitch, you know, when you've got a gamer who is streaming his game, they want the highest quality possible without, you know, causing problems for the viewers. So generally, you're running around, you know, a fairly high bit rate. The fact that basically all we're doing is sitting here talking, we can probably reduce that down quite a lot, which we will do tomorrow. We'll reduce it down some more, and then I'll have a meeting on the weekend with somebody, and we'll definitely get this all straightened out. So have patience. We know the problem's there. We are working on it, so not to worry. Yeah, so this promote your game. What's your feelings on this?
Well, like I said, what exactly would be the point of it? Are they trying to just, it's because it's all opinion. One game is better than another. Well, you know.
Unless you're getting paid for it. That's the problem I have with it.
Yeah, unless either streamers or game companies are paying for Twitch to promote these games. I think I think a more honest and open way of doing it would be a lot better. It would be, we may be having a different conversation, for instance, if we were seeing games, for instance, if Don't Starve was above WoW or above League of Legends, like with viewer counts. So if Twitch were altering the viewer figures, I think we may be having a different conversation, but perhaps if they were a bit more honest about it and said they were advertised games.
Yeah, see, that's where I would be much more accepting of open advertising. If because the one I saw was for Nosgoth, which is a free-to-play game. I question why that is being a promoted game, and the reasons why it's being promoted. Because it's definitely not a WoW game. It's definitely not a League of Legends game. It's not even a, you know, an overly popular game. So what is the rationale behind promoting a game, or Twitch promoting a game this way? And I'm sorry, the only thing I come up with is money. And if that's the case, then I think Twitch has to be a lot more transparent about what they're doing with this. And I honestly, I couldn't find anything. Mind you, I was busy doing all kinds of fucking shit. Thank you, yeah. So I really didn't look that deep, but I didn't see anything come across the official Twitch blog in my feed reader, so I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe it's just something we should keep an eye out on, because I have a feeling in the future, I think more information will come out about it, and we could figure out what the hell's really going on, or what the motivation is behind it.
Twitch is still a relatively new media source, online gaming being streamed out. I mean, it's a new venue for sort of gaming companies able to advertise products, etc. I mean, we already get adverts through games, but from that perspective of promoting the game on a front page or on a side panel, it's something that, as you say, needs to be a bit more transparent, but something to keep an eye out.
Yeah, I will definitely, and any of our co-hosts will hopefully do the same in case I miss it. You've got a thing in here, John, about new gaming equipment. What is what's your thing here?
Oh, you're gonna get him excited now.
Oh, go for it! Go for it!
He showed it to me the other day, and he was like a little fucking candy store, and I was like, yes, awesome.
So yeah, I got in the Steam sale they had the Microsoft Flight Simulator X on sale, and I hadn't played it in sort of 11 years or so. So since I was a teenager. So I bought it, and I went out and bought a new joystick. So I got a little bit excited about sort of all the buttons on it and programming it to do various things. I've hardly even played the game. It's just the nostalgia of having a new joystick. I think the nostalgia of having any new kind of gaming bit of equipment is fantastic. I'm sure you would similar with your headset today.
I was very excited until I couldn't figure out how the hell to work it. Why don't you show everybody what? Let's
come on, let's see this toy. Come on, whip it out there. Oh, is that a Sidewinder?
There we are. Yeah, I've got a lovely rudder control on the back of the throttle. Yeah, I've got various buttons that I can program. It's fantastic. I'm not very technical. I don't know the names of things, but I know all the different axes. But yeah, it's a good bit of fun. Brings you the childhood memories back. Like it's almost like having a PlayStation 1 controller in your hands.
My PlayStation 1 is actually hooked up to my giant living room TV right now, fully functional.
Actually, you know what I did with my TV? Because I don't have cable, like for TV. I don't watch TV, because if I want to watch something, there are other ways to get it. But it is sitting right there above my monitors, ready to be plugged in to my graphics card once I get because I got to go from HDMI to DisplayPort on my NVIDIA card, which means it's going to cost me about $40 that I don't have. But I've always been a dual monitor person. I love dual monitors. And I thought pretty much that, having 3 monitors would be kind of, being ostentatious, like really not needed, until I started doing this shit. And I'm telling you, if you want to stream, if you don't do it without at least 2, but primarily 3, you're crazy. Because, like, right now I've got the soundboard, I've got Twitch chat popped out, I've got Skype, I've got OBS, I've got the sound mixer on one monitor. On the other, I've got TeamSpeak, I've got OneNote, I've got the browser open, and I've got iTunes. But they're all overlapping, so I'm having to figure out, where the fuck is this? Where the hell is that? So, yeah, 3 monitors are definitely, they're prime. And so here's the thing. This conversation came up earlier in Dizzy's chat while he was doing Don't Starve, and it was this, and I've seen this many times. Webcam or no webcam for streamers. Now, this is a two-sided question. One from the streamer side, okay, and one from the viewer side. Now, I mainly because I guess I'm doing the streaming now, I'll take that side of it. Obviously, we could not do a show like this without webcams. That would just be insanely stupid because it would be boring as fuck. But as far as like my opinion, as far as streaming games, especially since Twitch is the new entertainment medium, it is gaining in popularity by incredible leaps and bounds. People who never thought that they could sit for 4 hours a night and watch somebody play a game are suddenly finding themselves not 4 hours but 8 hours. Or they're finding themselves not 1 day a week but 5 days a week. And I know several people who have basically given up on watching television because they watch Twitch instead. Now, to me, the driving force of that is the streamer, their personality, the way they react with their audience, the way they interact with their game. And if you don't have a webcam, I think you're cutting off half of that response factor, because people can't see you. They can't see that inane fear when you're walking down the corridor of Alien Isolation, or you get slaughtered by, you know, dragon or whatever, dragonfly or whatever it is, and Don't Starve. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, if you are a streamer and you don't have a webcam, you're cutting yourself off at the knees. But now let's look at it from the other side. You two as viewers, and I know you like your Twitch, you watch quite a few streams. What is your opinion of webcam or no webcam?
You know, I'm pretty new to Twitch, and so switching around streams and kind of discovering what the hell is going on for like the last maybe year or so, it was very interesting. I've seen both. It's definitely important, I feel like, to have a webcam. And you said that, you know, Twitch is huge and it's growing, and, you know, people who never thought they'd spend 4 hours or even more watching somebody play a game. I have a feeling that it's at least 50% of people, like, it's that personal thing. Like, they want that interaction. I don't think it's necessarily the video game. I think it's the entire structure and the relation and you know, like the community that comes with a lot of these streamers. But I've also watched people like, I remember watching Elric when I was into SimCity. He didn't even have a mic when I started watching him, and I still watched him. So it's interesting. But now that he's got a mic, like I'd almost want to be like, can I have a camera? I want to see like your facial expressions. I want to see what you're doing. I want, like, there's that personal touch that people kind of come in here for, I feel like, that we don't even think about, because we're all like, oh, it's video games, video games, video games. But I don't think that's just it. And I don't know if that's just me.
No, I have to agree. I think Elric was an example I was going to bring up myself, actually. You know, I think it does depend a lot on the game that they're playing as well. So, for instance, if you are playing a first-person shooter or, you know, a horror game, seeing that reaction is part of the experience for the viewer. I do think that with something like, for instance, SimCity, it's a little less, not important, but a little less essential to see those sort of facial reactions. But then, as you say, you're right, the interaction between the viewer and the sort of the personal banter almost is, you know, facial expressions, etc., are definitely conveyed very well through a webcam.
Okay, Rar said in chat, as a viewer, the only time I go to a stream without a webcam is if I know the name of the streamer or someone recommends them. Afro-Cuban says, where did it go? Webcams are cool, but I understand, and I'd like to, granted we've got a 30-second delay, but Afro-Cuban, I would like to know like you say, you understand why someone wouldn't want to use one. Does that affect? Okay, you've got, let's say you've got the same game, and there are two streamers that you like. One has a webcam, one doesn't. Which one are you going to go to? Which one will get your click first? That's you know. I just think that again, I'm coming at it from a streamer point of view, and I'm not really a gaming streamer. What we're doing is totally different. But I've watched enough to know that interaction is just, yeah. See, he would go to the webcam enabled one, no question. No, well, I got to think about it or whatever. It's just that's where I would go.
I think the initial sort of click to go, if you've got them all, as Twitch does, for instance, on a game page, and you see a webcam, I think the initial reaction is to go for that webcam. It almost looks a bit more professional, but if that webcam's not gonna, if they're not interacting well with their audience,
yes,
I will move on to the next one.
Yes, that okay. See, here we get into the second part. That, you know, you can have, you know, the best Logitech webcam, 1080p, and have a good crisp, you know, video that just looks gorgeous. But if you don't interact with your audience, what the fuck's the point, really? You know, go get yourself a cheapy, you know, little round shit thing and pretend you're on AIM again. So yeah, I think that definitely is probably just as key, because really, you look at, like, okay, in Don't Starve, you've got Flare 2V, you got Axie. Now, granted, Axie's on a PS4, but Flare is, and he's on a PC. He does not have a webcam. He has no intentions of getting a webcam. Axie obviously can't really get one. But both those streamers are immensely popular within the Don't Starve Together community, and have good interaction. There's nothing better than actually getting into his, you know, baguette routine if you really need a good laugh, you know. So,
like, I feel like I should know this. Someone like, does Lyric use a webcam?
No.
I don't. Yeah, and he's huge.
Yeah, but but this was a point that was made also in Dizzy's chat. Was, you know, everybody points to Lyric as the shiny example of, you know, a webcamless streamer who is big. Here's the thing. Lyric's been here since day one, or almost since day one. Plus, he's had a lot of support from Twitch themselves. So literally, he doesn't need a webcam. His place in Twitch is set. It doesn't matter what he does. Okay? So, I honestly think that you cannot use him as an example in this argument. I think he's totally out of bounds. You cannot use him. It's just, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't.
On a completely side note, though, and this might be just me, and this is how weird I am, but when I see somebody with a webcam and it's showing their room, they don't have a green screen or everything, if their room is a mess, it drives me fucking crazy. I am like, you're on camera, and I don't need to see your unmade bed and your dirty fucking clothes and your food plate, like. And I see that, and that actually turns me off. I'll change it. I can't. I actually mentioned that today. We were watching something. I don't even remember, on Twitch. And I was like, look at his bedroom. I was like, he probably doesn't have a girlfriend. Because who wants to live in that filth? Like, that bothers me. And I don't know if that's just me.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Haas. I'm almost... I kind of have a hard time. And I've mentioned this before in TeamSpeak about the fact that streamers who stream from their bedroom, and don't get me wrong, John, this is not, you know, anything against you, but I just, when you are a gaming streamer and you want to make this a profession or whatever, I'm sorry, streaming from your bedroom is not, thank you, Mike, I'm not a bedroom streamer watcher. I don't. It doesn't work.
I made him clean his room.
Lies, lies,
You're gonna be on
lies in the
camera.
sea.
Make your bed.
Just on a side note, Afro in chat has made a really good point. Some people may not use cameras because of feedback that they're getting from chat due to racism or sexism, or even furthermore than that, if somebody has got a lot of sort of self-confidence problems, they may not want to expose themselves in that sort of format so that they're not
Okay, I call
out there, because the internet can be a very cool place.
Listen, on that last part of self-confidence, you know, because of their looks or because of whatever, I call bullshit on that one. And I'm the shining example of it. I'm an old fuck, okay?
Yeah.
And it's like, what was it, 2 nights into the show, we already had some doofus who said, yeah, the old fuck gets all the bitches. And I'm like, you're out of here. Alright? When I first started out doing podcasts, they were all audio. And then my friend and I, Paul, decided, well, let's bump this up and go video. And I'll tell you something, it took a lot for me to step in front of a camera.
You're handsome, Cranky.
Did you start feeding her drugs today or something?
No comment. No, but I genuinely do. I do think that for some people, I do think, especially with the internet community nowadays, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody in particular, but especially, I mean, 4chan love going around Twitch, and they love just completely trolling people. So it may be, for instance, one instance where I don't even, if somebody's streaming and maybe a college friend or something says something to another friend and it escalates from there. I do think people are entitled to sort of not have a cam for those issues.
Okay, yeah.
It's all about building up the confidence to do it in the first place. I think people need support and a good viewer base before doing that, perhaps.
I think also, too, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but, okay, Twitch is, especially when it comes to women, all right, not so much men, but mostly women streamers, has this Wild West, you know, show what you can get away with to attract your viewers attitude.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that may be the idea of, like, especially for women not wanting to have a webcam, is a backlash on a personal level against that prevalent attitude. You know, saying, look, I'm a woman, but I don't need to show my, you know, my goods to get viewers, so I don't need a cam. The other thing is, too, is I think age.
Why do you say that?
The median age for Twitch is, shall we say, late teens to early 20s.
I'd probably say mid-teens, actually.
Okay. Now,
there are a lot of people out there, then young teens, late 20s, that are streaming.
Yeah, but see, that's where I, like, okay, for example, Flare 2V, all right?
Yeah.
He's 17. Maybe he doesn't want to deal with people coming into his channel, seeing this young kid, and suddenly going, hey, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, you're too fucking young, get the hell out of here, you know? And because that's not the case. When it comes to Don't Starve, there's no better than him. You know, so maybe his feeling on a webcam is that being as young as I am, I don't want that to become a negative target.
Yeah.
And then you've got the other end of the spectrum, me, the older shits, who are reluctant on putting themselves on camera because this is a young person's territory. So we are open to oldism or that sort of thing. Haas, you have to send me some of those cigarettes. I want to try
I
those cigarettes.
I can do that. I can do that.
Oh, I want to try them. So I'll get you my mailing address. I want to try them. I really do.
I might send you a glitter bomb, so watch out.
That's a good point actually about sort of cigarettes, because I'm not a smoker. I know you guys love, you know, it's kind of almost like a habit definitely for Has when she's gaming to smoke cigarettes. I was just thinking if you had any other kind of like, you know, almost habits or addictions while you're gaming. I drink just liters and liters of water while I'm gaming.
You hold your pee for hours and hours.
Oh yes.
I'm a Pepsi man.
You don't even fuck around. You got a 2-liter. There's not even a cup next to you. You just straight.
Well, no, I've got a cup too. Okay, like I'm not that. Hey, listen, I'm not that much of an old fog that I can't even use, you know, proper glassware. Come on now, you know, I'm not a caveman, even though some might accuse me of being such. But yeah, interesting point. And I'll throw this open to chat as well, and we'll try and keep an eye on it. When you're gaming, what is a necessity of life when you're gaming?
Snacks. I'm an eater.
What kind of snacks?
Goldfish, peanut butter filled pretzels. Very easy to reach and eat food.
John, what besides water? What's your other weakness?
I have recently, post-Christmas in the UK, basically around Christmas, everybody buys nuts, like nuts crazy. So just after Christmas Day, they sell off nuts, and nuts stay in date for ages. So I bought a lot of peanuts, a lot of spice nuts recently. So I kind of have been snacking on those, but I tend to try and avoid snacking. I tend to try and be quite healthy, because I spend a lot of my spare time gaming. I do a bit of exercise and things, but that's waving a finger.
No. John likes cake.
Oh, I do like
cake. Any kind of cakes. And he will come back. He'll be like, hold on. We'll be playing a game together. And on my toaster right now, all I can pretty much play is Don't Starve Together. And he'll come back and be like, hold on 1 second. And he'll have either cupcakes or little snack cakes. Or some kind of, he'll buy like a whole cake and like cut some slices up, be like, it was on sale. I mean, cake is on sale. It's best that way. And he will eat cake. He has the cake problem. Don't let him lie to you. He does eat nuts, but he likes cake.
And
that's very true.
And you work in the healthcare business. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed, John. I'm ashamed. You're setting a bad example. You know, now mind you, I'm sitting here drinking a 2-liter of Pepsi, so I don't know how much of an example that's setting. But
I think, food intake in moderation with plenty of exercise.
Okay, so
official job.
We've got Newland, who is a Pepsi and Marlboro Red man. Yes. Now I gotta say, Newland, only thing better than Marlboro is Camel Deadheads. Afro-Cuban, cigarettes, vapor, soda, coffee. Vape is a big one. Oh, Newland, he's getting big on this one. Pizza, Pepsi, Pop-Tarts. God. Afro-Cuban goes for TV dinners. Yeah. So
pizza.
Yeah, pizza. God damn, nothing like a good Hawaiian pizza just to help a game go along. Yeah, speaking of gaming, the big news today, yes, Haas.
I kind of want to go back to the women gaming camera thing really quick.
All right,
because it reminds me of a story, and I fucking lost it when I saw this happen. When Nine was kind of around more, I was in her channel a lot, and it's the first time I ever saw, like, she's not like a let me show you my tits kind of person.
Oh, hell no.
Because once somebody pops on and all you see is like boobs, and you're just like, I can't even take you seriously right now. It's kind of like, all right. But she had people in her chat, and she drunk game. And I remember one guy turning around and being like, oh, something about I'm going to be a chair so you can sit on me or my face or something like that. And I've never seen anybody respond quite like this, but she turned around and she just straight, like, without missing a beat, was like, Yeah, you don't even know what that's like. It could be like fucking roast beef down there. You wouldn't even know. Something smelly going on. There's death and Yetis happening, and you want me to sit on your face? She's like, you have no idea what the fuck's going on. I could be filled with herp and stuff. And I mean, if you want me to sit on your face, I can. And I fucking lost it because people were just really adamantly rude about it for the most part with her. Like a lot of sexual, like.
Well, you know, she is Canadian, right? So, you know, we don't take shit.
We just brush that shit off.
Oh yeah.
Like, let me tell you about my fucking meaty vagina, and I was like, you are the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's fantastic. Fantastic way to deal with sort of story behavior.
Well, you know what?
It's nasty, right?
Like we talked last night about Gamersgate and the whole women in gaming, and you know, sometimes like, what is the best? Like, I like Nine's way of dealing with it. Okay, is that really the best way to deal with these assholes? Is just to step up and smack them in the face and just. Or to ignore them and just let them drift off. Like, okay, as viewers, when you are in a channel like that, the cringe factor is like pretty bad. Like you're going like, because especially if it's a streamer you like. So obviously you're gonna go, oh my god, this is not going to end well one way or another. Thank you, Purple. Do you think her way of dealing with it is the way to go, or is there, you know, or does it like?
I think it is a very good way of doing it. I think ignoring people is also a good way, but making light of the situation with humour, to say that because basically these kind of people are wanting to get a reaction out of you. That's why they're there saying it. So if you're making humour out of it, almost making fun of them in response to an extent, I think it's a great way to deal with it. But it's quite sad that it happens in the first place. But there's something that's never going to be stamped out at all. People are always going to troll. People have always trolled from the past. You know, prior to internet days, people are always trolling. And sadly, it's going to happen for the rest of the time, most likely. As female streamers do tend to be the butt of most of the jokes and most of the abuse, which is quite sad. But perhaps it's looking at something, maybe making it a bit more sort of equal between men and women on Twitch.
Cranky, I just typed in chat, but I'm going to say it. You're picking up a lot of background noise.
Yeah, I know. It's
like somebody's making coffee.
Yeah. Just
really?
Yeah.
Ask the coffee expert. I would know what that
sounds like. Well, this kind of leads into I guess Intel's new. This really kind of irritates me, but Intel is launching an initiative to double the number of women working in the gaming industry by 2025. What the fuck? Like, okay, don't get me wrong. Women are great coders. I've known, like, my manager in one company I worked for was a phenomenal coder. I learned a lot from her. She was a bitch of a manager, but she was good and she was fair. But nobody helped her get to where she was. That was her talent. Do we really need something like Intel stepping up and saying, well, we're going to announce a $300 million backed diversity initiative?
This actually upsets me very much. Even being a lady and knowing that, I'm sure it's unfair in some aspects, but at the same time, they're sitting here saying they want to incorporate more women, which, okay, I understand, but at the same time, you're going to be sacrificing, you're going to get half-assed jobs done because you want a woman to do it. It just doesn't seem, I don't know, it just boggles my mind. You're going to sit here and say you want women for the sake of having women, for the sake of diversity, but if a man can do a job better than a woman can, then why hire the woman? Because you want more women? Because you don't want this to seem like a sexist, you know? Well, yeah.
Okay, well, go ahead, John.
I was going to say, I have to agree, certainly, definitely to some extent. I do think that to get more, if you really want to get more women into the sort of gaming industry, to try and, if they really want to make it equal, is trying to create more role models who are already in the industry, sort of female coders, female game developers, trying to create more role models. Because look at 2014, I mean, women have had a very bad press with Gamergate. And I think it's just absolutely dreadful. You know, there hasn't been any positive, like real positive sort of stories that have come out. Why not try and push those positive stories, get some role models so that younger people can be more interested in gaming, sort of younger females and younger men be more interested in gaming and developing from there. But I think it's a very fair point.
Okay, let's give a little bit of background on this, so you know, people kind of know what we're talking about. Speaking during the
I put the link in chat, actually.
Okay, good.
Wants to look at it.
Speaking during the Consumer Electronics Show earlier this month, Intel CEO Brian Krasnich announced the $300 million backed diversity initiative. The initiative, he said, would help support diversity and inclusivity at the company and fund programs to support more positive representation within the technology and gaming industries. The diversity initiative was spurred in part by a recent confluence of events related to women and underrepresented minorities. Among those events was Intel's decision last year to pull advertising from game industry site Gamasutra. Intel was targeted by Gamasutra campaign against Intel was targeted by a Gamergate campaign against Gamasutra and its editor-at-large, Lee Alexander, who had been critical of gamer culture, leading Intel to temporarily withdraw their ads. Well, first off, Intel's spineless. Okay? If they're going to let a bunch of whiny-ass fucks make them decide on what their advertising campaign is going to be for gaming, then that's just ridiculous. And somebody should have lost their job over going down that road. But does that mean we need to spend $300 million to, you know, get women to become gaming coders, like, or you know, visible minorities? And really, as a side note, all right, and I have practical experience on this. You want to talk about a visible minority in the tech field? Try being my age. The amount of experience I have in coding, the amount of experience I have in running blogs, the amount of experience I have throughout the, like A+ tech, you name it. I've been there. But do you think I can get anybody, I could get anybody to hire me? No. Why? Because of my age, I cost too much.
Yeah, I do think it's almost as like they're if they're just balancing the books of equality, so making the same number of male coders as female coders, same number of young coders as old coders, same number of, you know, ethnic diverse coders as white sort of male, or for instance, I think that's completely wrong. They should be investing the money elsewhere, so that they can get the best people for, you know, who do that job regardless of their backgrounds, similar to what Alicia has said.
Although Karaida just made an excellent point, and I always forget that she's actually in the industry.
Yes.
And she said she works her ass off to get where she is, but she has to deal with a lot of sexism at work. And they'll go and they'll ask other people hoping for different answers. And if, Karaida, I don't know if you want to chime in on this, on like what that is like, because I would have never even have thought of what it was like to be a woman in the field, and if this is like an actual, like, real struggle type of thing.
Like if
I know there's a 30-second delay.
Oh, she's in TeamSpeak. She can unmute herself and talk if she wants. She's more than welcome to. look, I know that they're like the thing is, this isn't just tech industry. This isn't just the gaming industry. This, you name the industry, any industry, and there's sexism. You name any industry, and there's you know problems for the visible minorities of getting jobs. Acting. Look at how many of our major movies, how many of them are of powerful women? How many of them are of powerful black people or Hispanics, or, you know, up here in Canada, and you know, North American Indian? Okay, you name, even in the corporate world, how many CEOs worldwide are women? How many CEOs are black? You want me to keep on going down the line? This is not just a gaming problem.
Yeah,
and
I have to flip it on the other side as well. For instance, in my profession, I am a minority myself as a male.
Yes, you would be.
And again, in our current hospital, there are, I think, only 1 or 2 senior male members of staff. This is going right through to the boardroom and executive level. It is almost the figures, if you look at it from a distance, do look very skewed. But it's about having the best person for the job, and it's sad to say that sometimes that isn't a consideration.
Okay, on one hand, yeah, okay, you got to kind of turn to Intel and say, okay, bravo, by 2025. That's like 10 years from now. What's gonna, like, what are you spending $300 million on over 10 years that's gonna make a difference?
In education, perhaps.
Yeah, but even so, okay, if you're going to go down the education route, all right, you're talking middle school, you're talking young kids. 10 years ain't going to put them in the workforce. So, to me, this is more PR bullshit than it is anything else. And it's coming on the heels of things like Gamersgate. It's coming on the heels of you know, this whole diversity thing that you know that everybody is, you know, suddenly hopping on the bandwagon with. And I think $300 million could have been better spent elsewhere. On what, I'm not really sure, but I think this is a I don't know what's it's a mirage. It's a PR mirage as far as I'm concerned. You know, it would be interesting in 10 years down the road, okay, if I lived that long, where we can actually sit back and go, okay, Intel, did you actually double the amount of women and minorities in the gaming industry for your $300 million? Proof. Where's the proof? Because right now, to me, it's just a joke. It really is.
We can't really tell the final outcome until 2025, really. Yeah, I completely agree.
Oh, correct.
I was going to say, I hope you don't leave us in 10 years, Cranky, because I've invested a lot of shares into your history. So.
You know,
here's a scary note. Like when he was part of the stream in the Sims 4, he was the first to die. When what is it? MS the software library came out, the free PC games and such. I played Oregon Trail right away, and Cranky was in my thing, and he was actually the first one to die too. And I feel like this is really an ominous thing.
Well, the other way to look at it is that they're dying in my stead. So every time a character dies, I live longer.
You've got 9 lives, right?
Hey, you never know. You never know. Been around for a long time. The other big news that came out today, and I've I gotta, you know, good thing DeGaule's not here because it would be a rather interesting discussion. As most anybody's been following the tech news today, Microsoft had a briefing. This is key here, folks. They had a briefing on Windows 10. Now it started out pretty general. They aren't really giving an roadmap of where they're going with Windows 10, the new things that are coming, which I'm really looking forward to next week. See what new stuff is there. Actually, Project Spartan, which I'll get into in a minute, actually has a lot of interest for me. But it was pretty generic. And Phil Spencer was his usual idiot self, even though he was wearing a Battletoads t-shirt, which sparked a whole, oh my god, we're actually going to get a new Battletoads. Yeah, well, when it's in the software library, folks, you've got a new Battletoads. The one interesting thing that came out of the Xbox presentation, other than the fact that, you know, Windows 10 is going to have a Xbox app, which will tie into Xbox and everything else, is that they gave us granted it was only, I think it was with Minecraft, but they gave a demo of one person playing on the Xbox, the other person playing on the PC. Cross-platform gameplay. Now, Phil Spencer did come out a little later in an interview and say, look, this is not going to be an overall move on our part. This is going to be basically on a game-by-game basis, which is understandable because most times, you know, a PC gamer will wipe the floor with the console player in like, same game. But that's always been the golden unicorn for gaming. And it actually looks like Microsoft will be, and everybody, well, what about Sony? They've got, you know, you can play on the PS2, you can play on the PS3 and the PS4 all together. Folks, that's a fucking console. Alright? You're dealing with the same basic code type. When you're dealing with PC gaming and you're dealing with console gaming, you're dealing with two different, normally. And this is where it gets interesting, because Microsoft's new development platform is universal. It's a universal development platform, which is supposedly means you can develop for the Xbox, you can develop for the phone, you can develop for tablets, you can develop for the PC. But they showed this demo. Now, before we get on to the rest of it, which as far as I'm concerned was much more exciting, do you think that we might actually be getting to that point where we can have PC gamers and console gamers playing the same game at the same time? Are we getting to that point?
No. If you look, perhaps for non-first-person shooter games, or, well, first-person shooter games is a fantastic example to use. If I have a controller and I want to hit a target, I don't know, say 30 miles away, just as an example, that's going to take me a while without any auto sort of lock or anything like that, or auto target. It's going to take me a while to get to that target. With a mouse, I can pretty much pinpoint it fairly quickly.
See, I'm the opposite. I started as a console gamer, and it took me forever. My first first-person shooter, I was terrible at. My first MOBA was I'm awful at. I was like, give me a controller, and I could figure this shit out quicker. Yeah. So being able to do that would be absolutely amazing for me.
Thank you, Cody. Like, okay, I'm a PC gamer, and that's using the term very loosely. Thanks, Sniff. I have an Xbox, but you know the only reason I bought the Xbox primarily was when my wife was still alive, so that she could have Netflix and all the stuff in the bedroom because we were getting rid of the cable. And then my grandson, when he would come over, he would play his games on the Xbox. He's a console gamer. Me, I tried playing a game on the console and I gave up after like 5 minutes. I was just so trying to figure out how the fuck this little piece of plastic, it just, give me my keyboard, give me my mouse. At least if I'm going to make myself look like an idiot, I'm doing it with a keyboard and mouse.
See, that's a whole nother argument, though, like, because you're almost heading into console versus PC gaming, which, me being a new PC gamer, this argument kind of boggles my mind, because you've got the PC for life and, what is it, PC or die? What is it you say, John?
PC Master Race.
Yeah, see, and I'm not like that. So the idea behind the fact that people are like consoles are easy or, you know, PC's better, I've never really understood that.
I think consoles, I have to admit, but definitely for driving games, consoles, I find driving games a lot better.
Have you seen? Listen, years ago when I first started in all this shit, a good friend of mine who got me involved in computers, the major portion of his business was building custom driving rigs for PC gamers. We're talking the steering wheel, we're talking the pedals, we're talking the chair, we're talking the PC. So don't tell me that a console can outperform a PC, a properly set up PC. And you know that PC gamers, if they get into their games, they love nothing better than fine-tuning every single aspect of that machine and its peripherals to give them the best experience possible. So, the argument that a console is better for one type of game contrary to a PC, I'm sorry, I do not agree with that argument. I do not, I don't. I've seen too many cases on both sides.
Yeah, I think maybe looking towards the future with technology, you will move towards more of a sort of complete overview of almost a merge of them. You'll see controllers being used with PC. I think eventually with technology, especially with some of the things that Microsoft announced today, you'll certainly see almost a merge of the two.
Carrying on with the Microsoft news, like I said, this was the boring shit. Because from this point, it started getting interesting. And the first one was the Surface Hub. Now, you really have to be an enterprise type person. But I know de Gaulle, when he saw this, that's when you started hearing the oohs and the ahs coming out of him. And you have to understand de Gaulle. He hates Microsoft. He does. There's no two ways about it. He figures that they are a scourge on the computing world. But he saw the Surface Hub, which is basically a self-contained 82-inch wall computer with cameras that allowed you to instantaneously start up a whiteboard meeting with Skype, with a whole bunch of other shit. It was actually pretty impressive. That still wasn't the best. It definitely was not the best, because what followed after that, I think I know nobody there was expecting, because you never think of Microsoft being able to keep secrets. They almost did with the Surface, and they almost did with a couple other things, but the Surface Hub was out of left field. Nobody was expecting that. Then Alex Lipton comes on stage and changes the future. I mean, literally, he did when they introduced the HoloLens. Now, did you see this part, John?
I caught the end of it. Yeah, it certainly looks absolutely fantastic. My worry is that it may end up going a similar way, in that it will be too expensive for consumers, i.e., sort of you or I. Yeah, see, that's my fear.
Okay, granted, there'd be no price. Now, so people that didn't see this, scour the web for the obviously available video for the Windows 10 briefing. And before you start calling me a dumb shit, take the time and watch, especially what I guess the last hour, or no, last 3/4 of an hour of the briefing, and tell me with a straight face that Microsoft just changed basically everything to do with computing in our world when they introduced the HoloLens. Now, typically in cases like you get the on-screen demo of what this is going to be like, and Microsoft's been famous for this. Well, we got treated to, and this is a briefing. This was not a major event, right? This was just a briefing. They actually had someone come out with a set of the HoloLens on, and in front of the audience, and with a specially built camera rig that could show what she was doing in this holographic world. She built a quadcopter model that was then 3D printed out and worked. They showed a couple demos of, and one of the ones they showed was playing Minecraft using the HoloLens. Now, okay, you're saying fine, it's still a demo. You got nothing except the demo up on stage. Here's the thing.
Something that to be incredibly excited about. But I mean, when it comes to it, I worry how much for instance, I'm going to have to pay for that kind of technology.
Yeah, but the other concern that that a lot of people that were watching this was, okay, well, this is a demo. How long are we going to have to wait for this? Is this going to be like a 5-year project? Well, it turns out that the people that attended that briefing had a chance that afternoon to take part in live demos. Not other people doing the shit, but the people writing the articles got a chance to put on these things. Now, admittedly, this is still sort of breadboardy, okay, and rather delicate, but it exists. It's real. These people had a chance to use it. And yeah, I agree, John. I am worried about the price too. But remember, when the Kinect first came out, it was a standalone. It was a couple, $300, $400. This is one step above. Now, and the price came down. Now, I'm going to come back to the Kinect reference in a minute. The price came down. To right now, you can probably pick one up for $120 on its own and be Windows compatible instead of just Xbox compatible. When Google launched Glass, $1,500 fucking dollars, and it didn't even do a percentage of
they
what.
Just recently released a thing saying that
it's done. It's done.
You know of it is done, and
yep.
when it comes out again, it's going to be completely different because
yeah.
they knew they fucked up.
Yeah, right. So even if we and they're saying that the HoloLens will hit the market. It's got a product name. It's got design product specs for the casing, everything. Okay, it is supposed to hit the marketplace within the Windows 10 time period. So your fears about when it's going to be released, I think you can just sort of take that off your checklist. Money-wise, how much would you change for how much would you be willing to pay to be able to experience part of the future?
Like, if this is done right, this is going to be absolutely fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like they're already, like EA already announced, said today that they got a sample of this like 8 months ago. They knew this was coming. They didn't know exactly what it was, but they knew this was coming. They got some preliminary, outlines of what it does, and I imagine they got to see it in action. NASA is working with this technology for their rovers. In the demo that these writers went through, they literally were standing on the surface of Mars, next to the rover. How fucking incredible is that?
Well, I mean, if you put it in perspective, and I know this isn't quite as big, but you think about just the newest consoles, and I know not everybody's a console gamer, but think about them coming out. The PlayStation 4 was like $450. The
Yep.
Xbox One was like $600 or something.
It's now
like that.
$349.
Yeah, it'll be a little more attainable as it comes on.
But I can tell you one thing: it's not going to be $1,500. And look how many people lined up and were going fucking nuts trying to get their hands on the Google Glass. And I jokingly said on Twitter, I said two things on Twitter. I said, so Facebook, how's that $1 billion purchase of Oculus Rift feeling right about now? Right? Because that's the obvious comparison that everybody's making, and I'm sorry. If you're making that comparison, you're a fucking idiot. There's
It'd be interesting to see. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say one, and I sort of said that Apple has just been one up when it comes to one last thing, because this happened right at the very end of the briefing, and it wasn't a major event, like I said. It was just a briefing, and suddenly you've got this world-changing piece of hardware.
It's kind of brilliant they did it that way. You know, I started watching the beginning when you guys were talking about it, and it honestly kind of bored me a little. I know nothing about Windows 10. I'm still using 7. I haven't even touched 8. So I was just like, oh, this is boring. And I missed possibly the coolest thing that they could have talked about. But it's kind of brilliant that they presented it that way.
It was brilliant. Like, their whole process for doing that was brilliant. And I don't know who came up with the way they did that, but yeah. So anyway, my personal opinion, and I know, like I said, DeGaulle was watching this along with me, and I've never seen a grown man like him who hates Microsoft the way he does devolve into a mess of gelatinous goo over this thing. He was just amazed at it, as was
Who
just
did
funny.
you say? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Who did you say already had knowledge of it? The
EA.
game company, did you say?
EA.
I can't wait to see what hell they're thinking about doing with this. Like, what games that will come out with this kind of technology. It's fucking awesome.
Here's the thing. Remember back, I don't know if you guys will remember this, we're going back probably last year, the beginning of last year, when rumors came out of Microsoft developing what they called the Illusion Room, which basically took your living room and created a panorama around it with a lot of complex cameras and so on and so forth. I think they had it a little wrong, because this is basically what Microsoft has done. You've got a holodeck. Now let's be fair here. This is not true holographic technology, but it's not virtual reality, and it's not augmented reality like a lot of these dickwads who are writing about it. These catchy headlines are writing about. It's, as Microsoft said, it's a hybrid amongst them all. The fact that they were, the only reason they were able to show us what this woman was doing on stage was because they had to build a custom camera rig, which, wait a second, there's another technology that they can turn around and sell too. Right? We're one step away from true holographic, because
it's only going to open up the technology not just for Microsoft to develop, but I'm sure Apple are working on something similar or something along the lines of this advanced technology that we've never seen before. Look at computers. Look how much they've developed. You can just look at any technology. They do develop. It's just what that product could be. Are we really going to be sort of seeing almost a future world?
By the way, Windows 10 will be free for Windows 7 users, Windows 8 users, and Windows 8.1 users for a year after launch.
Do you know if you'll be able to switch back and forth, or once you make the transition, you're kind of stuck with it? Like, what if I tried 10 and I was just like, fuck this, I want 7 back?
Can I tell you something? Because I'm running Windows 10.
Are you?
Yes, I'm running the preview version, and it's rock solid. It's rock solid. I have had no crashes with it. I've had no driver issues. I've had no software issues.
I mean, even if you did have any sort of driver issues and things, that would be understandable because it's completely brand new. I mean, just the experience of using it, I guess, is the real sort of feel you've got to have for it. I also think it's a huge.
If you're
skipping 9.
If you're but there's reasons for Windows. But if you're a Windows 7 user, it's just a natural progression. You will feel totally at home. They've made improvements. I mean, some serious improvements. But the UI, your basic startup UI, is the same. And Afro, the system resource usage is awesome. It doesn't hurt my machine at all. It doesn't use a lot. As a matter of fact, I would say it probably uses less than Windows 8. So far, anyway. It has not been a drain on my system whatsoever. RAR Windows 10. Okay, the official don't look for it before the build conference, which I think is in March. But I would estimate, given knowing Microsoft's habit of launching stuff, the official launch will probably be October, November, because they'll want to hit that new computer marketing before Christmas. But up until then, you're probably going to get. I know that there's a new build coming for the preview people starting next week. There will probably be another one just prior to the big game development conference, and there will probably be another one before the build conference. And I've still gotten updates in the process of running this. So they are solidly behind this. For Windows 7 users, it'll be like no real difference on the surface of things. It's just a better machine, better software behind it. For Windows 8 users, if you aren't moving on to Windows 8.1, you're an idiot, because it especially on the desktop, because you can go back to the typical startup for Windows. But anyway, enough of Microsoft and Windows.
Well, you could also, I mean, because they said at the Windows thing that they were talking about the streaming Xbox games to any Windows PC or tablet.
Yeah.
So is that kind of like whatever games you have in your
Xbox
inventory type thing? You'll be able to just back and forth. Doesn't matter.
That's what it sounds like. See, what they've done is they've taken a step back, because and as a developer who developed a lot of stuff for Microsoft platforms, especially under Ballmer and Sinofsky, it was a mess for developers. It was a disaster. What they have done now is they said, okay, we are going to give you a unified platform to develop software on. So that it doesn't matter whether you are developing for Xbox, whether you are developing for the desktop, the phone. You develop an app for one, it may be just a matter of hitting a switch and recompiling, but basically one code, all platforms.
Yeah, I think that's a huge arrow fired towards Apple's direction, especially at the mobile market, the phone market. That massive competitive, added competition to Apple, because Apple are having some really, really tough times at the moment, especially on the mobile department.
I also think it was a bit of a slap to Google. Android, Chromebook, two different operating systems. So yeah, it's there's some definitely interesting time. And what will see if people remember when Kinect first launched and the hardware hackers got a hold of it, the amazing things that they did with that piece of hardware that changed everything to do with Kinect, because it was originally just supposed to be a gaming peripheral. That was it. It suddenly became the eyes for mobile wheelchairs. It suddenly became the eyes for doctors. It changed. Well, HoloLens is going to do pretty well the same thing, especially since there is a developer API for it, which means it's open. You can develop anything against it. So yeah, it's going to be, there's some interesting times coming up as far as Microsoft is concerned. But let's get back more into gaming with our other favorite bitch point, Star Citizen. Apparently, this man, he just...
say, Nick has taken over the has his share.
Is that your kid? What?
Like a real boy again. Is that my what?
What's your cat's name?
Taken over the share.
Her name is Nika.
Okay. All right. What kind? Male, female?
She's a female. She was my sister's boyfriend's cat, and she started getting stressed out at the house with other cats around and such, and they were like, we need to find her a place where she's not licking all her fur off. She's like the coolest thing ever.
Cool. Cool. What the hell? Oh, Moby. Chris Roberts. This man fucking amazes me. He really does. His only real claim to fame is a game back in the 80s, Wing Commander. That's basically his claim to fame. Comes up with this Kickstarter to reimagine Wing Commander with using modern, gaming technology. Gets a pile of money. Takes the Kickstarter money, continues the crowdsource funding on their own website, is now sitting at close to $100 million, and we still have no game.
The balls on this guy.
Yeah.
They made a big deal out of PAX last year. They were going to do this live, gameplay, and it crashed. Literally crashed.
I have to draw comparisons. I know some people will disagree, but with DayZ, obviously being early access, when it was a mod, okay, yeah, it had great potential. When they turned it into a standalone, it went backwards 100 miles. They got huge attention on Steam, top game of Steam for a good sort of 3 months last year. And then sort of the lead developer says, all right, I'm going to leave it to these guys now. I'm taking my money, see you. Like, there's hardly anybody on Steam, I think, that's probably one of the most owned games on Steam. It just shocks me how little it's developed, really, over the past sort of 12 months, and how, yet still, they have all of our money.
Yeah.
Is this the same game that they would charge you like thousands of dollars to buy
for a ship,
spaceships and
yes,
shit for it?
Yes, you could buy it.
That hasn't even come out.
Yeah, you literally could buy a spaceship for a game that didn't exist.
But it was like an extraordinary amount of money, wasn't it? Like thousands, literally.
You could buy anything. I think from 150. I think there was one ship you could buy for $10,000.
Oh, I'm right on that.
But anyway, he what was it? He was at this event, the BAFTA event. Yeah, BAFTA event, where he was on stage talking about this. And now, let's be fair, because I do like to be fair, even though it hurts. They have given an official beta date, or beta release date. That's about as close as you're going to get to an official date. We don't know whether that's March, whether that's April.
Then again, I say, is it really going to be a release of what was promised, or is it going to be similar to DayZ, where it's completely inadequate sort of content and not what people have promised, and hasn't really developed at all from the initial idea?
I'll be honest. When I've been following this, through the crankygamers.com for a while, okay, and I came out and I've basically called this nothing more than a Ponzi scheme. You can, like any good Ponzi scheme, if you run a good Ponzi scheme, you're going to make sure that the people believe in the product. And if that means making sure they got the right looking paperwork so they keep forking over money, that's part of the Ponzi scheme. In this case, we've got ships, digital ships, that are proof that the game exists. We've got semi-working demos that prove that the game exists. We've got bits and pieces of the game that are being handed out to prove that it exists. But we still don't have a fucking game that they've gotten $100 million to create.
So, not knowing, how much would you say, like, developing, releasing everything for a brand new game, like, what kind of money are you looking at versus what they've raised?
Let's take the high end, and this is a known fact. Destiny cost Bungie $500 million. But a very large percentage of that was marketing. We don't have the details on how much, but the fact is, Destiny cost $500 million to bring to market. Now, we're talking a world-class AAA console title, okay, from a company with a pretty good track record. Now you've got Chris Roberts at $100 million with a whole lot of hype that doesn't cost him a damn cent, and we're 2 years in. 2 years or more, I'm not sure. So, take it as you will. Until there is actual beta, full version of the game that can be downloaded. God help us if they do a fucking Founders Pack. I will just lose it. Okay? But until they deliver the full game, I'm sorry, this still stinks. This still stinks of being a Ponzi scheme. And if I'm wrong, I will be the first one to admit it, and I will download it, and I will try it, and I will admit I'm wrong. But
someone just brought up H1Z1 in chat too. I know that's a hot button for you, I think.
Well, okay. They brought a full game to market. It might be a little flawed, okay, but they did bring a full game to market in a period. When I first started hearing about H1Z1 was back when we were playing Landmark, and they were developing it along the same timeline. So we're looking at the same time period. We don't know how much money that they spent on marketing. We don't know how much money that SOE has piled into H1Z1. We know they can't fucking afford servers. Right? My problem... Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, most launches of sort of AAA games are botched nowadays anyway, especially those on PC. Servers tend to always crash through lack of preparation or through other sort of groups wanting to DDoS, etc.
Do you know how many servers that they had online for the launch of H1Z1?
I do not.
21. Worldwide, 21. 21 servers.
It's ass kicking time.
Thank you, Demon, because I'm not going to try and pronounce the first part of your name. They had 21 servers for what was intended to be a mass worldwide launch. Now, let's look at another company that went through that. WoW. With the launch of just an expansion. Okay? Now, Blizzard's been around for a long time. They know that they have to have their servers up and ready. And you can be guaranteed they had enough servers. They just had other problems. You're telling me that SOE, especially after the problems that Landmark had, is going to walk into this with 21 servers worldwide? Tell me how that makes any fucking sense.
Yeah, none at all.
And on top of that, they want you to buy, you know, buy into the access, whether it be $20 or $40. The only reason I have it is
a game which is going to be free at the end of, end of.
Yeah. The only reason I have the game even is because someone was good enough to send me a copy via Steam. That's the only reason. I would not have bought it. And the sad part is,
opinion on it, honestly.
huh?
Did you play it or did you just
yeah, and okay, my opinion, thank you, Nick. My opinion of the game is it is a gorgeous looking game. It's gorgeous. The atmospherics, they did an incredible job in the atmospherics. The overall graphics are good. The zombies are a little questionable, but generally pretty good. And from what I understand, they've done some pretty good patching so that the gameplay is a little better. Like, zombies won't just stand there and stare at you while you go up and smack them. All right, they will actually attack you now. All right. But yeah, no, it's a gorgeous looking game. And once they get the bugs worked out of it and they actually have a working game, the looks might actually add up to being a good game to play. The problem... go ahead.
Say, does H1Z1, does that kind of almost make you have trust in early access again?
No. You want to know why? Because they want $20 and $40 for a free game.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in your opinions, are there any early access that are actually worth it?
Don't try and fuck with my head and say, you know, we want $20 from you, but we're going to make it free later. Be honest. Look at Clay.
Yeah.
Okay, with Don't Starve. They've been upfront. We want your money, but we are going to give you a good game to play. And it's still early access. It's still in development. Okay? Especially Don't Starve Together. They've been upfront about that. They got no problem being upfront about that. And to me, that's a company to stand behind. Even though, listen, I'll tell you something. I don't like Don't Starve. I haven't played it, will not play it. But I honestly, if you gave me a choice of what to spend $20 on, if I had to buy a game and I had $20 and I had to choose between H1Z1, which I would play, or buy Don't Starve, my choice would be to give my money to Don't Starve.
Yeah.
Simple. It's honesty.
I have personally very little trust in early access or alpha games, just because of the huge number of scandals that have come out from those kind of games. I mean, there are a couple that I would genuinely preach to say you need to go by this model, or Steam, you need to say this is going to be the model for early access or alpha. I think Prison Architect is one of them. I think those guys have done, I know there's still only a couple of them, one person developing pretty much, but they've done an absolutely fantastic job. Monthly updates, continuously adding content to a game which has made significant progress over the past 2-3 years.
I don't like those type of games, right? No, it's not that they're bad games. I just don't like the graphic style of things like Prison Architect or RimWorld or Don't Starve.
Yeah.
They do not appeal to me. If I'm going to be pumping a machine like this that I've got beside me, I want the graphics that make it work. Okay? Like I said, the H1Z1 atmospheric graphics were gorgeous and didn't even hurt this little baby. Okay? But
The Bone Ranger is asking if you get in-game marketplace currency with your purchase of H1Z1 like you got with Nosgoth.
to be honest, but I don't know. I didn't get that involved in it. Apparently, see, here's the other thing that really pisses me off about H1Z1 and SOE. Okay, airdrops. Boom, drop the mic, walk away. Okay. They said that you could buy, like, if you get the big pack, the $40 pack, you get X amount of airdrops, which means you can call in an airdrop, which you have a chance. It's not like the airdrop is yours. It's you have a chance at getting the contents of that airdrop. Somebody could kill you and take it away from you. All right. You were supposed to be able to buy airdrops. That was going to be part of the marketing of the game. You could buy airdrops. And when the uproar happened over that idea, the prez of Smedley came out and said, "Well, no, we changed our mind. We don't think that's such a good idea. We're going to pull that idea." And then he went on to Reddit and did a big AMA or whatever over the whole thing and kind of got people calmed down. A couple days later, guess what? Airdrops are back in. I'm sorry. That's just scummy. Point blank, scummy. Yeah, and so what Light Ray says, they dropped 7 zombies with the drops. So not only are you getting an airdrop you might not even be able to get the contents of, you're getting some zombies that are just going to stand there and stare at you. You know, so
Those are my favorite kind of zombies.
yeah, they're, you don't have to worry about them. They're not your DayZ type of zombies. Not that I've played DayZ, but the thing I like about companies like Clay and the guys behind Prison Architect and RimWorld is that they aren't creating their games for the big bucks or to screw the player. Okay? They're not asking $60 or $50 for a game. They're saying, we're going to give you a good, fun game to play, and all we want in exchange is $20 or $25. Which for most of us is doable. All right? The idea of maybe not going out for coffee one morning or to Starbucks and having to, take out your liver to pay for your coffee.
Hey.
Sorry.
Out of a job.
I couldn't resist, Haas. Sorry. That's the kind of honesty I like in gaming. It's not marketing hype. It's not bullshit. It's just people who love making great games who aren't looking to become the next AAA. They just want to make a good game.
Yeah, and you can tell that by with Prison Architect. Every month they release a YouTube video, normally about 20 minutes long. It's basically 2 guys talking. The guy who's programming and the guy who's sort of publishing the game. A couple of guys who worked on all the games into version. And the YouTube video is something that excites me every month. Absolutely fantastic to watch. Even if you're not a fan of the game, the banter between the two is just absolutely brilliant. They make it into the story almost with their prisoners. I mean, I'm sorry for ranting on about Prison Architect. I'm a huge fan.
No, that's cool. Like, I have games that I'm a fan of, even though sometimes they might disappoint me. But Light Ray also mentioned too, when the question about the in-store currency or in-game currency or whatever, he says there's no currency but event tickets, crate keys, and premium for airdrops are purchasable. You can buy. So, look, I got no problem with a company that wants to microtransaction a game to a point. If you're going to microtransaction to where it's a pay to win, then we're going to have a problem. Thank you, Light Ray. Thank you, Bone. But if you're going to microtransaction, let's say the cosmetic angle of the game, so that you can buy a different outfit or you can buy a skin for your gun, whatever, I've got no problem with that whatsoever. Cool, make your money, but don't fucking lie to us.
Yeah.
Don't treat us like a bunch of fucking chumps who, don't know or can't see what you're doing. It's as simple as that. And SOE is doing that in spades as far as I'm concerned. And so is Star Citizen. As simple as that.
I think eventually everybody will be educated enough to realize that it is a con, or a lot of these kind of games are a con, and hopefully be educated enough to identify that.
You got a lot more faith in humanity than I do, bud. Seriously, like, be honest.
I agree with that, actually.
What, with John or with me?
That he has a lot more faith than most of us.
Yeah. Listen, John,
I see the best and the worst in people, so there is hope out there.
Prove it. It didn't happen.
Yeah, really. X-rays don't count, especially when they got a bar sticking out of their head or something. Anyway, we are getting late here, folks, and I know that you've got to sort of get some rest before you go to work tomorrow, John. And I'm sure that you got a day off today, Haas, or you have to be at work?
I'm working tomorrow night, but I did have today off, so I slept until about noon.
Oh, all right. And really, is there anything we got left there that you want to sort of do a quick one? Elder Scrolls Online. Yes. We got it. We how many of us in this game world did not predict that this would happen? The fact that Elder Scrolls Online would drop the subscription.
I'm just going to say I don't play Elder Scrolls. I was told I should, but I've never played. However, if I paid and I read some shit like this, I would be furious. And I don't know if that's just me because I've never done it before, but I would be fucking rip shit about that.
Yeah, similar. I've never played it either, but when I for instance, bought a game for its full kind of $60 price or whatever, and then I see it go on sale like, I don't know, 3-4 months later for only $15, it makes me very angry.
You know what pisses me off even more? And again, we're getting a little sidetracked here, is the fact that you spend $60 on a AAA title. The launch is fucked, right? It's just totally screwed. They offer you a free game that you might chances are you already have in your Steam library. And then within a month of it actually launching, they have a DLC for you to pay for.
Yeah.
That pisses me off.
Although some games, like Lands 2, I thought they did an absolute wonder with DLC. I think some games it can go, DLC can really enhance the game. But I completely agree with you. If they, for instance, with Borderlands, they told you that there was going to be DLC, buy this season pack, and you'll get all the DLC for free, when it comes out in the future. And that game was, some of it was absolutely fantastic. The DLC, absolutely fantastic, almost made a whole new game.
And really, Pass, what is the difference between a game like ESO going free and buying something like H1Z1 where you're spending $20 for a game that's is going to be free? There's not really any difference.
No, I've never really gotten into any anything like that. Landmark, which I believe is going to be free,
Yeah.
I did pay for, but it was only because of the hype surrounding it, because I don't play it any longer.
I don't
Not
either.
just because I'm running on a toaster. I was never into building. I was like, I'll fucking mine stuff for days,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm watching people with these ships and shit, and I'm just like, no, I'm not even there. So I think a lot of it's the hype with it and being able to say, you know, I was there at the beginning, or I was there in vanilla, or I was there when it was this, because that's like bragging rights. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is the same.
It is.
Yeah, I rarely pay full price for games anymore. Mainly because I have the day of Steam sales, you have many games already, and you know that game is going to be on sale in the future sometime. However, GTA 5, I do admit to ordering on the minute within seconds that it was released on Steam as a pre-order.
Listen, I've got a friend of mine who is probably the biggest Call of Duty fan and Halo fan that you could shake a stick at. The moment there is anything mentioned about a new game in either one of those titles and it comes up for pre-order, he's bought it. You know, and in a way, you gotta admire people that love a franchise that much, regardless of how good or bad it might be at any one point in its life cycle, that they are willing to commit sight unseen to another release. Like Paul, I've known Paul for many years, and I always give him a hard time over Call of Duty. But I admire him for the fact that he loves that game so much that he's followed it from the very beginning. He's bought I don't think there is anything to do with Call of Duty, the Halo, that he doesn't own. You know, I admire people like that.
Call of Duty.
You what?
I love Call of Duty. I'll
See,
admit that.
So you're a COD player.
I am. I've never played Halo. Call of Duty was my first FPS I've ever played, ever. My hands were too small to be able to hit the triggers and shit, so somebody finally taught me, and was just like, here, we're gonna fucking play this, and that's what I got into.
Cool.
I have to admit, I'm a big Call of Duty fan until they moved on to Call of Duty 2. I was a huge Call of Duty 2 fan.
Oh, you guys snobs.
From there on, I had no interest whatsoever. I think the World War II nostalgia as well kind of got me a lot interested into Call of Duty 2.
Well, you know, this has been a fun evening. This has been a really good fun evening, and I think we've covered pretty well everything. Had some good conversations. Like I said, John, you've got work tomorrow. Haas, she can laze around and not have to worry about much, but that's okay.
I've earned it.
Yes, you have.
Hey,
yes, you have.
There's a cat in that flat that needs some attention.
But on that note, I think we will call tonight's show to a close. Listen, folks, if you've enjoyed the show, I know we still got a few things we got to get fixed, like the buffering for some of you, which we will get fixed before the end of by the weekend anyway, so be patient. If you like the show, you like what we're doing here, toss us a follow. It's greatly appreciated. If you want to show us some support, hey, listen, I won't turn down a donation or two. It's all down there. Just check out the buttons. We will be here every night, 7 days a week, from 12 a.m. until whenever. So, on that note, I want to thank Haas. I want to thank John, which, folks, you may see more of, which will be really cool. And we will see you tomorrow, everybody. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the show. Reach out on Twitter if you got any ideas. We're going to be adding some stuff to the crankygamers.com site to tie in with the show, so you can check it out there as well. We do have now daily going up to YouTube, previous night's show, So you can subscribe there if you want. You don't want to stay up this late, but you still want all the goodness. But thank you. You make it worthwhile.
Yes,
everybody.
Thank you very much.
And we will see you all tomorrow, everybody. Have a good one.
Soon.
Good night.
Night.